Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Caroline Maria, working as an assistant professor in Loyola College of Education, Chennai. The title of the course is Childhood and Growing Up, which comes under Course 1. We are going to deal with Unit 2, Stages and Dimensions of Development. This is Part 2 video lecture, which is going to deal with all the 5 dimensions of development. They are physical, cognitive, emotional, social, and moral. For all these 5 dimensions, we are going to focus on the meaning and characteristics, factors responsible, and role of teacher. Hence, the learner will be able to explain all the dimensions of development, describe the factors responsible for all dimensions, understand the role of teachers in all the 5 dimensions of development. Let's see what is physical development. Physical development can be defined as the structural changes in an organism which are evidenced by increasing in the height and weight and adaptation of body organs to the increasing bodily needs. It could be divided into 2 categories as external development and internal development. External development pertaining to your height, weight, physical appearance, motor skills, etc. Internal development in relation to your internal organs and organ systems. What are the factors which are responsible for physical development? Physical development of every individual can be affected either positively or negatively by the following factors. The traits or the characteristics, whatever we inherit from our parent, will affect the physical development. And same way with regard to the birth, either it is single birth or multiple birth in a family, or the physical and mental health of the mother during pregnancy, whatever the nutrition received by the embryo, whether the delivery is a normal delivery or an abnormal or cesarean delivery, or any other delivery complications, nutrition after birth of the child, living conditions at home with regard to proper ventilation, noise, spacious, etc., emotional adjustments in children, adequate rest, sleep for the child, medical care provided for the child, any accidents or incidents occur in the child's life, all these are the different factors which are responsible for the physical development of a child. What is the role of a teacher in the physical development of each child? Teachers are expected to identify the physical deviance in the students. When a child is having some problem, teachers are expected to identify the problem, and teachers should play a decisive role. In the sense, teachers should take the decision to encounter the problem in the students, and teachers should understand the needs, desires, attitudes, and overall behavior of students. And teachers should give more exposure for the students with regard to the creative activities. And teachers are expected to encourage more physical activities for the students in order to go for a very good physical development. And teachers should adopt appropriate methods and techniques for teaching. And any time the teacher can change make some changes in the timetable, textbooks, seating arrangement, learning environment, teaching learning activities, assessment, etc., according to the needs of the students in order to foster the physical development. Let's focus on cognitive development. The mere word cognition means becoming aware through senses. As we know already, sense organs are the gateways of knowledge. We are provided with 5 sense organs. Through eyes, we learn 75%. Through ears, we learn 13%. By skin touch, we learn 6%. Through taste, we learn 3%. And through nose smell, we learn 3%. Hence, cognitive development is the construction of thought process, including remembering, problem solving, and decision making from childhood through adolescence to adulthood. So, whatever your mind processes, whatever happens in your mind, is what called as cognitive development. The growth and development of mental abilities and capacities which help an individual to adjust his behavior to an ever-changing conditions is what called as cognitive development. What are the factors responsible for cognitive development? Heredity plays a major role. If your parents are intelligent, obviously you may have intelligence. So there is an interaction between the inherited traits and the experience. If the parents are illiterate, but they may have intelligence. So we just consider if a parent are illiterate, if the child is given very good exposure for education, through the experience, the child can develop the cognitive development. And with regard to the physical growth, if the child is healthy, we can expect better intelligence from the child. And with regard to the physical environment like fresh air, sufficient light and space, all this will foster the cognitive development in the students. And family environment also plays a major role in the cognitive development with regard to the different habits and the practices. If the family people are habituated for watching some movie or TV serials and all, and so many hours if they are spending, if they are having that habit, or if the parent are having some alcohol or drug addiction, all these habits if the parent are having, that will affect the cognitive development of the child. And socioeconomic status, if you have very good socioeconomic status, you can provide good exposure to your children to expose themselves for various activities. School environment also foster this cognitive development with regard to the infrastructure. If the students are overcrowded in the classroom, that will affect the cognitive development. And if the curriculum is a very fixed curriculum, if it is not a flexible curriculum, that will affect the cognitive development. And teaching learning process also, if it is a monotonous way of teaching, which will affect the cognitive development. And if the evaluation is subjective evaluation, which will affect the cognitive development. What is the role of a teacher in cognitive development? Teachers should make the student a self-reliant, that is an independent student to stand on his own merit. So it is the responsibility of the teacher to help a student to develop cognitively to stand on his merit. And teachers should use the instinct in teaching, and teachers should avoid suppressing the enthusiasm of student. Many at times teachers would say in class, keep quiet, just listen, don't talk, stop talking. All this will suppress the enthusiasm and creativity in students. And teachers should teach with actual objects as well as through activities and not simply giving some theoretical lecture. And teachers should provide love, sympathy, encouragement to the students, and teachers should motivate the students to participate in all the extracurricular activities. And teachers are expected to arouse the curiosity, creativity, problem solving, decision making, critical thinking, and divergent thinking skills in the students. And teachers are expected to lay the foundation for the moral characters and good habits in the students. And teachers are expected to provide insight about great men which will inspire them, and they may also can become inventors. And teachers should help the students to overcome all the superstitious beliefs and unwanted customs, and they can impart the ethical and religious education, and they should provide occasional guidance. Let's focus on emotional development. The mere word emotion came from a Latin origin emovere, which means to stir up or to excite. So emotion can be stated as agitated or excited state of mind. According to Crow and Crow, emotion is an affective environment that accompanies generalized inner adjustment and mental and physiological stirring up states in an individual that shows itself to an overt behavior. According to Charles Morris, emotion is a complex affective environment that involves diffuse physiological changes and can be expressed overtly in characteristics of a behavior pattern. What are the characteristics of emotions? Emotional experiences are associated with instinct and biological drive. If we are disturbed, if we are hungry, or if we are sleepy, you cannot behave properly. What are the different emotions? Happiness, anger, jealous, envy. All these are the different emotions we come across with. So, emotions are the products of our perception. Perception is equal to sensation plus our past experience. Whatever your past experience, accordingly you will show your emotion. For example, if you are angry with a person, the moment you think about the person, immediately you may get angry. So because of your past experience of anger, you may just continue with the same anger. So emotion is the core feeling, and it brings the physiological changes, and it will be there in all the stages of the development. It is not only pertaining to the children but also to old age people also emotions are there. So emotions are extremely individualistic, so it depends upon each and every individual. Same emotion can be aroused by different stimuli. For example, if you like ice cream, ice cream can bring some smile on your face. If you like your mother or father or your sibling, the moment you see them, that also may bring some smile in your face. So different stimuli are there, they can bring smile in your face. So there are negative correlation between the emotion and intelligence. When you are emotionally disturbed, you cannot perform any duty successfully. So you may be weak at that particular time with regard to your intelligence. Emotional development in infancy. Cry and body movement are the evidence for emotional elements. So, in children will just cry or smile at you in order to exhibit their emotion. So, the stage of undifferentiated excitements to stimulus could be seen at this time. And before 6 months, we can see very pleasant and unpleasant responses, either cry or smile. The children would either cry or smile. After 6 months, the infants would show the negative emotion by saying no, or avoiding something from you, or even crying. And by the end of 12th month, we can see positive emotion because they recognize you and they smile at you. Continuous variation of manifestation of emotions are there in the infancy period. During childhood period, we can see peer group relationship, school atmosphere and other environmental factor also will affect the emotional behavior. You can see children joining together as gang and always they will be engaged with some games or play. So their emotional behavior get linked with new stimuli every time they play something new. And there is a remarkable change in the expression of emotional behavior in each child, and the child advances towards the emotional stability and control. During later childhood stage, the child demonstrate applicable degree of emotional control. So when they are in early childhood stage, they'll be mostly emotionally imbalanced. They may come and complain to the mother saying that that boy bit me and this girl is scolding me, all that. As they grow, we can see the emotional control in them. Emotional development in adolescence. During adolescent period, the adolescents may suffer with a lot of emotional instability. So the disturbances of emotional stability would be seen in adolescent period, and it is a period of stress and storm according to Stanley Hull. And emotions during this stage will be very fluctuating, very frequently as well as quickly. You could see these adolescent children will have mood swings, excitement to the peak, disappointment to the pit they may go. So too much of uncertainty in the nature of emotional state could be seen, and there is a strong need for training of emotion through proper channelization through this age. What is emotional maturity? Emotional maturity is the ability to understand, control and manage our own emotions. It will exhibit proper amount of emotion in proper quantity at the proper time in a proper situation. So when we are exhibiting this emotion, we can say that we are emotionally mature people. So it is a pattern of expression which can be very easily recognized because every now and then we come across with emotional imbalance. So perception plays a major role with regard to this, and our intellectual powers like thinking, reasoning, etc. are also exercised during this emotional maturity. Adequacy of self-respect and self-concept is essential in order to have this emotional maturity, and it will have greater stability in emotion. When you are able to exhibit proper amount of emotion in a proper quantity, in a proper time, in a proper situation to a proper person, then you can call yourself as an emotionally mature person. What are the factors which affect the emotional development? Our intelligence, family, relationship with our family members, our neighborhood, community, society, social development, our peer relationship, school atmosphere, teachers, our own health condition, physical development, all these are the different factors which will affect the emotional development. What is the role of a teacher with regard to this emotional development? Children should be made to learn in a healthy environment, first of all. And proper care on physical, cognitive, social, moral, emotional, as well as even spiritual development should be provided by the teacher to the students. And teachers are expected to create a suitable environment at school, as well as they can motivate the parent to create a suitable environment at home for the students to learn. And teachers should provide a lot of co-curricular activities. And first of all, the teacher should be a dynamic person. Always the teacher should be very progressive thinking, and teacher can change the curriculum and instructional methodology according to the needs of the students. And teachers should have all the positive methods for controlling and training the emotions of the students. Teachers should not trigger the emotion of the student, and teachers are not expected to snub the student in front of the other student, and that will create a very bad impact in the students. And teachers are expected to provide moral and religious education. And if any sort of emotional deviation is there in the teachers as well as the students, teachers are expected to help the student to manage their emotion with the help of their own self-confidence. You are expected to give them a lot of guidance and training for that, by which they can come out of their problem on their own. So emotional maturity is expected from every teacher. What is social development? The process of development which helps an individual to get along with other individuals with desirable behavior is called social development. Source and define by social growth and development, we mean increasing ability to get along with ourselves as well as others. Harlock said, social development means the attaining of maturity in social relationships. Garrett said social development is a process whereby biological individual is converted into a human person. What are the characteristics of social development? It begins with the infant's first contact with other people. Mother is the first contact of the individual, an infant. So through mother only, an infant will come to know all the other family members and even the society. So it is the net result of the child's constant interaction with his or her own social environment by which the social development is possible. Social development helps every individual in learning and acquiring social qualities as well as the character. It enables the child to adjust himself or herself with the social environment and to maintain social relationship, because you cannot isolate yourself and say that you are comfortable living all alone, because each and every individual is a part and parcel of a society. Each and every individual is a building block of a society. What are the different social development at different ages? During infancy, the behavior of infant is not social at the time of birth, because it was so much self-centered. The infant would realize only the mother's love alone. The infant may not be able to distinguish between the people and inanimate objects. The child may have a sort of egocentric and selfish behavior at the time of infancy. After the 13th to 18th month only, the young child's interest shift from play materials to the playmate. So then only they may recognize the other individuals, and they'll start respect and they'll start loving the other people. Up to 3 years of age, the child learns to divide and share his possession with the others. With regard to childhood, The period is marked by the greater degree of social awareness because at this age the children will just freak out. They'll just go out and play with their own age mates and they form a gang and they may be very comfortable playing with their own age mates. So they seek independence from parents as well as from the elders, and their interest from playmates to change to their own friends, and they become very active member in each of their group, and that group is only called as their gang age, and they form group according to their own gender, girls together one group and boys together another group. With regard to the adolescent stage, it is a period of rapid change and adjustment. Until they were children, they won't have any discrimination with regard to the gender. But once they reach this adolescent period, they may become very self-conscious and they may differentiate their gender with other gender and they may feel comfortable with their own gender, girls together and boys together. And group loyalty becomes very prominent at this particular stage, and it is marked with an increase of friendly relationship. They can do anything for their sake of friend. In order to sustain the friendship, they can do anything. So it is a period of intense emotion, and they exhibit their desire for being the reforms of the social setup. Anything happens, you can see all these adolescents together, they'll come forward and they take initiative and they show their responsibility to the society. And too much of diversity during this particular age is sociability, and the social development of the child becomes almost matured at the time of their adolescent period. What are the factors affecting the social development? We can divide it as internal factors and external factors. Internal factors with regard to your physical appearance and health. If you don't have a proper physical appearance, you may not have much friends. You may be having an inferiority complex. So that will prevent your social development. And same way with regard to health. If you are a sick child or a sick adolescent, you may not be feeling comfortable talking to the other people. So with regard to your intelligence, open-mindedness and your emotional development and your mood swing, all these are the factors which will affect the social development. The external factors like family, culture, school, peer group, community, religion and mass media, all these are the external factors which may curtail the social development or which may increase or enable the child to go for a proper social development. What is the role of a teacher being a socially matured individual? Teachers are expected to socialize with the people, and teachers are expected to have the capacity to sustain the friendship among themselves, as well as they are expected to motivate the students to have the same sort of friendship among their peer group. And teachers are not expected to be self-centered, and they are expected to have a lot of sacrifice for their interest with regard to the group, society and nation. For example, if they are working in a school, they are expected to sacrifice their own interest and needs, and they should get along with the group in order to have the team spirit. And teachers are expected to possess the ability of sharing and shouldering the responsibilities, and they are expected to have more cooperativeness with social quality, and they can plan very good activities for the students in order to help them to mingle with each other, and they are expected to possess strong desire to serve the nation or the society, and they are expected to possess greater degree of adaptability as well as adjustability. Adjustment is accepting something new without any complaint. That is what is called as adjustment. What is moral development? Moral development is the process through which the children can develop proper attitudes and behaviors towards the other persons in the society based on the social and cultural norms, rules, regulations, and laws. So, morality defined as principles for how individuals ought to treat another individual with respect to justice, welfare, and rights. So the instincts, habits, emotions, and temperament and sentiments are all the constituents of each and every person's character. So whatever values a person holds, that will be explicitly seen in the character. The organizations of all these constitutes in the form of permanent mental structure is a character of an every individual. So a person's behavior in the social situation is governed by his character. So character is whatever a person exhibits or portrays through his behavior. That is, character is organized and stable mental structure of an individual which will determine his or her social behavior. Stage wise, let us see the moral development. Infancy or amoral stage. Moral is, we know what is moral. Amoral is absence of moral. So during infancy, we cannot force the infant to go for moral development. According to Kohlberg, he said that 4 years is the age for starting the moral development of every individual. Because at the age of those days, at the age of 4 only, they were asked to go to school. So at this infancy stage, the wants are the sole motivation for the newborn infant. They won't think about what the other. See, for an example, if an infant is crying for food or anything else, infant will not understand that mother is busy with some work. So according to the infant, their own need has to be satisfied whenever they want. So no concept of good or bad at this stage. No emotional control can be experienced at this particular age. The next stage is childhood stage, which could be called as self-centered stage. So at this stage, the children can gratify their own needs and wishes without carrying the effects of their actions. Because at this stage, they would say, like, for example, if they want some chocolate, they would go to any extreme to get the chocolate from the parent. So they will nag, they may cry, they may become adamant, they may somehow pacify the parent to get the chocolate. So the choice of this age is very selfish and fixed according to the fixation takes place. So whenever the child cries, whenever the child is asking for something, if as a parent, if you make them understand that that is good or bad, immediately you can see a very good behavioral change in them. Rather, if you just allow them to cry, the fixation takes place over here. So they may become adamant, because if their need is not addressed, they may become adamant. And the next stage is adolescent stage. In this stage, they may act according to the values, because at this stage they may know what is good and what is bad, what to do, what not to do. So they may have a struggle between the emotions and their conscience. So they may speak truth irrationally. The next stage is adulthood stage. So it is the highest stage of character development. And here they may come across with all the problems in their life, and they may analyze their situation, emotion, and their behavior through their own experiences and their own logical thinking. They'll try to find out the reason for all their adverse behavior at this particular stage. What are the factors which affect the moral development of a child? Family plays an active role in moral development. School is also a foundation. It is a fountain of aid which will give a very good moral development of the students. And neighborhood, religious institutions, church, temple, mosque, club and camp experiences, playmates, friends, cultural activities, community factors, all these are the different factors which affect the moral development. What is the role of a teacher with regard to the moral development? Teachers are expected to give proper training with regard to the instinct and emotions of the students. Teachers are expected to clarify the students what is good and what is bad. And teachers are expected to train the willpower of the students and organize good habits, and development of worthy ideals is possible by the teachers. And teachers are expected to develop proper sentiments in the students, and role of reward and punishment by the teacher is very essential at this particular stage, because when a child is having very good moral development, very good values and principles, we are supposed to award or reward the student by giving them the praise, by telling them very good boy, very good girl, great, keep it up and all that. And same way, if a student is misbehaving in the class, if a student is not having good proper moral development, here and there the teacher can make the student realize his mistake. That sort of punishment only should be given. We are not take it as a right to punish the child either physically or even verbally. because the mere word punishment, punier, means pain. We should not cause any physical or psychological pain in them. Rather, we should help them to realize their mistakes so that we can see a permanent change in them. And the role of moral and religious education should be incorporated in the schools, by which proper socialization and mental development will happen. And teachers are expected to play a productive role in school, family, as well as even society. The key learnings are vital role of teachers in all 5 dimensions of development we have seen. Parents and teachers should provide conducive learning environment for the overall development of children. Let me ask you some questions. Suggest 3 strategies to improve your problem solving skills as a teacher. As a teacher, what are your plans to improve your emotional maturity? As a teacher, how will you set a role model for your students' moral development? Just reflect on all these points. These are some of the books for your further reading. Thank you, students. Wish you all good luck.